Hello one and hello all. We hear from the grapevine again that the United Nations wants to move its head offices away from Geneva and New York, and they want to bring these head offices into Kenya. Why? Because the cost of living in Geneva and in New York has become too expensive. And Kenya offers them a brilliant opportunity of moving those head offices into the African soil. Wow, what an interesting time to be alive, where Americans can't afford their lives in America, where the Europeans can't afford their lives in Europe. They're saying New York is too expensive. Geneva is too expensive. Let us go to Kenya where it will be cheaper. So we're coming to Africa because it is cheaper to live here. Few requirements for you before you move your offices here to the United Nations and you want your head offices to be in Kenya. We want full control over the United Nations. We want a seat on the Security Council. We want to have the majority vote because it is on our land. You cannot bring a foreign United Nations into Africa, whereas we don't have control over that monster, which is an American institution. And why are you coming here when it is cheaper to live here? Why didn't you come a bit earlier when it was expensive? So we also can benefit from the money. This is the problem where you always think that Africa is a dumping site of failed institutions. Bring the Security Council here. Don't bring us a toothless dog called United Nations. In fact, they're part of the thuggery and theft that is going on in Congo there in terms of stealing minerals. They're part of the rape cases that are going on in Somalia right there. They're part of the problem in Africa, United Nations. So we don't need that United Nations. Just take that United Nations. If you can't afford it, close it up. Send it back where it came from. How many crimes has United Nations been watching? Right now, Ukraine wars are being fought. United Nations like a crippled child watching. Iraq is being bombed. What is United Nations doing? Israel destroying countries. What is United Nations doing? We were in sanctions here. What did the United Nations do? All of Africa went to war. We're being butchered by these very same Europeans. What did the United Nations do? Now you want to come around with your small little stupid white vans. UN, because you can no longer afford your rent in America. You can't afford your rent in Geneva. You want to come and walk around here and sodomize our children in the name of human rights. We don't need that rubbish here in Africa. If you are going to come to Africa, you need to reform. You need to reform your human rights treaties. You need to reform your Security Council issues. You need to reform and transform your thinking. Don't bring us some old, dilapidated, cankered, bankrupt of thinking organization called United Nations for protocols of managing Africa, when in fact we have no agenda of developing Africa. The problem of United Nations, you look at Africa as a charity case, not as a business case. You look at Africa as a place that needs your help. We don't need your help. We simply need access to means of production. We can look after ourselves if you can remove yourself from ourselves. Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia. Look at where all the wars are happening right now. United Nations and America are involved. So the bringing in of the United Nations into Africa will be a very big blunder. We don't need that toothless dog called the United Nations. Take it back where it came from. We don't have the same sentiments. You don't represent us. You represent the principals who have sponsored you. And by the way, we heard that Trump has removed and reduced some of the United Nations money in terms of WHO and etc. Now you're broke. Now you're broke. You want to come to Africa and find shelter here. I beg to differ. If it comes here, we are taking over. And we want seats on the United Nations Security Council. We say no to United Nations coming and moving its offices here unless and until their agenda of humanizing and human rights of Africa is transformed to our own indigenous ways of belief systems and societal structures. Otherwise, we are importing a snake to come and live amongst us. We don't need that. We don't need an old American red-skinned organization to come and be amongst us. We need a transformed organization that can assist us in terms of development here in Africa. I thank you.